a psychiatrist, and I actually did not go into child psychiatry, even though that's what I thought I wanted to do, because I got so frustrated watching how the psychiatrists just were treating autistic kids. I was like, they were just trying to shut them up. They were trying to make sure they don't cause any problems, that they're quiet and sedated. And that's no way of improving the quality of life for them or their parents. And I thought, how depressing. I can't deal with this. So to see that there's actually a way that the patients, there is hope. But majority of the doctors that these parents take the kids to don't have the right solutions. So they are the sedating method. They throw antipsychotics at them, antidepressants, they throw some stimulants. So it's a concoction, whatever they can throw in to get that balance where they're quiet and they're not having all these, self-stimulation, behavior, then they think that's a success. So there are a smaller group of doctors who are doing what's called biomedical model, right? So they're actually looking at more from a more functional view, looking at the child's vitamin, their B12, their all kinds of metabolic issues, their genetic makeup, and then addressing the gut. And they're doing a lot of these holistic approaches. And of course, it's nice to have one of these doctors, but for so many patients, and I've seen, a lot of parents who don't have access to one of those doctors, they don't have a doctor like that near them. So having you, to be able to help them, this is really, really helpful. But I also want to ask you about the differences between what you do and what all these doctors, in the biomedical approach, what they do. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, for one, my program is online. It's a membership program and it's in over 40 countries. So the beauty of it is that you can do it from distance. You can do it from your own home. You don't have to try to get to an appointment. My goal is also to try and save parents a lot of the expense and the unnecessary expense of multiple appointments. And I hear over and over from parents, basically, which was like my own story, that they go to a doctor and they just basically get handed a handful of supplements and go home and, here, do this, or they get almost no help, or they wait a year and it's like, okay, I finally got in and they said, well, try to clean up their diet, or, they just aren't getting any information really. Mm. It's just, it falls short of the actual process of, I think, all of the steps. Again, many will specialize in one thing, but they won't know the rest. And that's where my frustration and my mission came in. I was like, I need to help these parents. I want to mentor them. I want to show them all of the pieces, walk them through it, be a support. And so, that's what I do. It's so rewarding. I mean, the results and the gratitude that parents are giving, even just today, I was reading in my forum where they asked me their questions anytime. Thank you. They're always thanking me for how much simpler the whole process has become, because I think it just simplifies it. It streamlines it more, that, it's like, do this first and this, and just kind of walking them through it. And of course, there's troubleshooting to do along the way, and it's not a quick fix. Of course, it's not an overnight, thing. This is human biology, and it takes time and patience.
So what's the time frame usually when parents get to see results? What do you see usually?
Well, and as you know, Joy, this is, so individualized, right? Every child is unique and no two are exactly the same. So one parent might see, significant results of, so much calmer, better sleep, better eye contact, improved language. They might see that in just a few weeks. And for others, it might be a few months. And then as they go on further, maybe they're a year in, maybe more than that, they're really starting to see more leaps and bounds. It's like how far you want to take it. Of course, you want to go through everything and to really detoxify the system properly, even at a cellular level, and then be able to, clear out, these co-infections, working with everything. And we do it all naturally and drug-free. to be able to do this in the right process. And as you know, that die off will happen, which is when the system, for our listeners, the system is overloaded with toxins as it's detoxifying. It's having a hard time, the liver and the detox pathways are having a hard time keeping up with all of the excess toxins as we're trying to get rid of them. So you have to take it very slowly and know when to back off. You don't want to go too fast. This isn't a let's do more. It's not a more is better. I always tell people, because then they regret it. They're like, oh my gosh, they thought I would try and speed it up. And now they have to like stop and let the child's body catch up and then resume at the, starting or lower dose. So it's a process.
So I'm dying to hear about these 4 stages. You mentioned here and there, but so do people have to go through one stage first? They complete it and move on to the next stage? How do you, maybe talk about the 4 stages and what they are, and then how do you, navigate the stages?
Yeah, absolutely. So I start by supporting the system first, and that begins with changing the diet and starting to stabilize the gut, because again, back to the immune system really being stabilized from the gut, helping to absorb nutrition where it hasn't been absorbed before. So, changing the diet, but along with some supplements and some things, binders, minerals, things that can help the detox pathways be supported so they can get stronger. We want to create some stability there. Then after a period of time with that and getting that more stable, then I use some natural zeolites, not synthetic ones, natural zeolites that are very helpful for also getting out. There's one that helps as a binder, but then another one that helps getting out a lot of the heavy metal toxins, but naturally and safely, because the drugs like DMSA that are often used for pharmaceutical use, those can allow for reabsorption of toxins back into the system, and they're not discriminatory. They'll also pull out calcium and magnesium and other minerals that we need out. So these zeolites are very safe and effective to then start working with the heavy metal detoxification. Then we work on co-infections with these.
So that's a stage 3. So the first stage is clean up the diet, healing the gut. Stage 2 is to heavy metal detoxification, mostly heavy metal.
Right. Natural.
And then stage 3 is
kind of a process. Right. Then clearing the co-infections, mold, Lyme, of course, strep like PANS or pandas, and parasites are a big, big deal too. And they don't show up in tests, just like Lyme really very commonly will not show up in tests. So you can actually have your child tested for parasites or Lyme and they don't show up in the results. So you think that they don't have them, but these things are antibiotic resistant and they're very, very clever. They actually are sort of intelligent and they can hide and they don't show up in tests often. So then you think, well, they don't have it. So you don't do anything about it or know what to do about it. So that's a whole process.
So how do you know if they don't show up in test? What do you just go by symptom and kind of treat empirically?
Well, because everything we use is natural and safe and broad spectrum, it only can help the immune system and help the body anyway. So there's no harm in using it, and it can, again, only benefit. And I'll usually say, those tests are very expensive. Some of them can be hard on the kids. They're time consuming, so I say, you can test if you want to, that's up to you, but, you don't really need to spend the time or the money on some of these things if you don't want to, because we're not going to be using any drugs or any antibiotics or anything that would harm the system, so that you don't, have to worry about, any danger. We just move through the process to clean the system up. And it has a lot of benefits. I mean, basically, you see the differences.
So these are things that they can get just as a supplement.
I lead them to very specific, either certain companies I work with, and that I get very specific proprietary formulas from to help do these things that are very, very useful. And then once you have gone through the first 3 stages and really started to really clean up the toxins and the pathogens and everything else, then stage 4 is natural and safe, again, brain support and repair. So now you're starting to really see who your child is. They're calming down, they're being able to focus, they're, they're really more of who they are. But they might still need some support. Maybe they need to still build some more serotonin or dopamine, or maybe they need, like, craniosacral is my background. Craniosacral therapy is very helpful. And later on, again, once the toxins and inflammation are out of the brain's way, neurofeedback is very helpful. But I usually tell parents, don't spend your time and your money on it quite yet until we've gotten this inflammation down, because then you're kind of battling against it. Craniosacral work can be done from the beginning on anytime. But neurofeedback is one of those that I say, wait until you've really done some work. But that, especially for my son, had tremendous benefit. So there are a lot of really great things you can do that can make a really good difference there for them too. And ongoing support. Of course, we want to practice maintenance. We want to eat healthy organic foods. We don't want to be eating junk food all the time, right? And we want to, I practice detoxification daily, prevention, because we have exposure to so much every single day in our environment, just from breathing the air around us, so, it's always good to help support yourself and practice maintenance and prevention whenever possible. And the whole family should work on themselves as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, because all these are natural, health enhancing treatments or approaches, and have the parents end up reaping the benefits from helping their kids. Mm-hmm. Have you seen that quite a bit?
Oh, absolutely. And they're like, some of them are like, should I do this? I'm like, yes, absolutely, you should do this. And I'm like, and I don't charge extra for you walking through yourself or your other children or your spouse through this whole thing, this protocol. Have everybody do it, because I encourage it, because everybody, we pass things around. I always don't share food, forks, don't share, drinks and saliva, because you're passing them. We also, by exhaling, we're spreading things. So, it's just good for everybody to get healthy too, because, a lot of the things have possibly come from mom and dad too. So they want to be healthier as well. Everybody's biology handles things differently. So if, one child, they might have a child with more ADD type symptoms or ADHD, and then the other one has full-blown autism. It just depends on how much those pathogens and infections and toxins have affected the child's system or the parent system. So, and how they handle it.